Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.
Welcome to Prairie Mosaic, a patchwork of stories about the arts, culture, and history in our region.
Hi, I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Bob Damback. On this edition, we'll meet a filmmaker with a wry sense of humor, tour a revitalized CCC camp, and listen to a band whose energetic music echoes their lives. Wood sculpting is an art form that has become very popular, and Paul Albright of Akeley, Minnesota has taken it to the next level. His detailed sculptures of near life-size bears, eagles, and other animals are a true testament to his talent, creativity, and dedication.
This will be converted into looking like a log, so I'll be putting bark on here. I left this open for a couple of reasons. The other bears will be, I'll drill holes and fasten those from the underside so they can take it out. And I left a little crossbar on there so if she ever wants to put a plant, like a fern or something, it'll look like a rotted old tree with something growing out of it. What you'll see here now is there are light areas inside. And rather than brushing it in or wire brushing it in, I just use this. And what it does is it gets in all the fine areas and it puts almost a finish on it immediately. I would say more toward the unique. Every town has a wood carver in this area. I step it up just a little bit more than perhaps the others in terms of detail. Felt really fortunate that there are people that are interested in not only the animals but unique settings. On the wood projects, I use a chainsaw first through probably a good third of the project, and then I use a series of other power tools, kind of size down, sanders, and then hand carving tools depending upon the wood type there too. I send sketches out, and if it's something I'm not as familiar with or want a little more reference, I'll do like a clay model or a maquette. And I also let them know that I can show them examples of the drawings and small forms that I did prior to, and then show them the finished project so that they know what to expect. Because it's not going to be perfectly like this, or because you have to stay flexible. We have access to white cedar that stretches in this area, but mostly north of us, and it goes kind of over the Great Lakes type of area. And that seems to do best for what we have available here for longevity and durability. It's not the friendliest wood, it's not hardwood, but at the same time, it has a fragile or flaking type of thing going on, so I use more power tools in that instance because it's just the tools that you have to use to get what you need to get to. I went to school for art and got my BS degree in art education and had taught for a few years, 4 or 5 years. And in the summertime, my brother-in-law asked if he had ever heard of this chainsaw art, and I really didn't. About 3 years later, I think just one had built in, someone else, his neighbor asked type of thing. And through those 2-3 summers, all of a sudden I had like 11 pieces about. And thought, well, if things don't work out teaching, I'll go that route. Well, should sometimes be careful what you say or wish for. I've had a lot of people come back for more, so that it should speak for itself. Even on average, maybe, of those who, let's say, get something, have 3 of something that I've made. There are a few that don't have room for anymore. Nice problem, I guess. This is a clay maquette that I did, and the finished piece is nearly life-size, probably 2/3 to 3/4. The top half is black walnut, and the bottom half is copper. It's probably the 7th one I've probably done, somewhere in there. First one was really simple and came up with the idea by reading a friend's book. It was a fantasy piece, and then the little people in the trees. And of course, 4 in the morning when the bad ideas come out, this was kind of an idea that worked. This is something I came up with that should remind people a little bit of a German artist, Escher. And he did do sculptures, but he never did this sort of dyad. So I did a sphere out of, from the cylindrical form of a log into a sphere. And then from there, I did this, I'd almost call it like a relief. So trying to maintain that really tight sphere look without getting too far from it. Watch it fall now. I realized after the whole thing's done, as they mentioned that, well, I would have paid a lot more for this, Of course, they don't tell you these things prior to or whatever. And that, and let's face it, making a choice, whether you have money or not, it takes a person with a bit of imagination to order this, and they of course see what you've done before. They have something to go by, but it's a risk. They're taking a risk, and they know it. So it's been very fun to meet a lot of these risk takers.
In the Northwoods, east of Bemidji, stands Camp Rabideau National Historic Site, one of only 2 surviving camps of the Civilian Conservation Corps, where unemployed young men were put to work, restoring the white pine forests of northern Minnesota and learning trades that would change their lives.
This is a nationally significant site. It's not just important to us here in northern Minnesota, but it's important to the country. It's the largest remaining collection of CCC buildings in a camp.
CCC was going at its full force. There were 2,500 camps in the United States. Every single state had camps. Today, there are only 2 camps left that have the original buildings on them. And Rabideau is the best preserved of all of them. In 1976, we were put on the National Historic Register. In 2006, we were made a National Historic Landmark. And with that, we got some stimulus money to refurbish this camp and bring it back to the way it was in 1935. This is a CCC site that was built in 1935. They were here until 1941, when Pearl Harbor. Shortly after that, all the camps are closed and most of the guys go in the service. These buildings that you see here are prefab. When they put them up to begin with, they didn't put a lot of work into them. They just kind of dug a hole, put some rocks in it, put some concrete in it, put a post in it, put the building up on top of it. So they were on very flimsy and poor foundations because the Army didn't think they were going to be permanent. All the camps were set up on a temporary basis. They'd set up a camp, they'd use it until the job was done they were doing, then they'd tear it down and move it someplace else, set it up again, tear it down, move it again. This just happened to be permanent because the war kind of came and interrupted that program.
There are 13 buildings out here, standing structures, about half of what was here originally, so we did lose about half the camps. And the reason that this camp survived when so many others did not is because the University of Illinois had their forestry and engineering summer field schools out here from 1946 to 72. So from 1972, it's just stood vacant out here. And of course, the Forest Service, does not like to have empty buildings standing out in the woods. That's just kind of an invitation for mischief. Well, I got here in 1993, and it was really sad out here. The buildings had literally collapsed down onto the ground. We did some volunteer projects out here to restore, beginning with the education building. And we worked on that for about 3 years with volunteers. Then in 2008, with the economic stimulus package, we received $1.5 million to restore the camp out here.
After they sat on the ground for so long, a lot of the lower boards on them had rotted away, and they needed to be replaced. These were made in Washington State, so they were made out of cedar. Washington State has a lot of cedar. Minnesota doesn't. So we had to send to Washington State and have them ship us cedar planking. Once we got the cedar planking, there was nobody we could find who was able to cut the cedar planking the same as the originals. So we had to have the knives made in order to plane the boards to match the originals. And we actually had to move every single building to redo the foundations. And when they put them back, they had to get all 4 corners within 1/4 inch of where they originally were. But that was the specs they had to follow from the Preservation Society.
We picked up these buildings, we put foundations under them, put some roofs on. It really elevated its status and made it known that this is a nationally significant site. It's not just important to us here in northern Minnesota, but it's important to the country. It's really a treasure to have this out here and get the kids out here, get the place alive again. That's what it needs, and that's of benefit to everyone.
Award-winning filmmaker Mike Schultz of Renshaw, Minnesota, has a wry sense of humor and a clever way of editing a documentary. His films have screened at numerous film festivals, including the prestigious South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas.
The first time I really remember being obsessed with the way that films are made was on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. They would run just these like really little documentaries about like, we're gonna go to the bottle cap factory today. And those are just like, they're great little films where it's just a selection of shots. You know how Batman has the trophy room in his Batcave? This is all I could muster. I mean, this is as close as I could come. My last movie, Lost Conquest, I had to buy a lot of Viking props for that, so I've got a lot of those hanging out here. I guess, I'm not a gun owner, but I guess if there was some sort of a home invasion situation, maybe some of this would come in handy. This is maybe my favorite movie tie-in ever. It's an inflatable Popeye kite. I don't know of a lot of other Robert Altman movie tie-in products.
This is where they put a monument up to saying this is where the stone was found. Okay, so what we do is take and rub the stick right here.
I think Mike is never laughing at someone. There's no cruelty. He's laughing with them. I think he's a really smart filmmaker. And I think what emerges when he polishes these documentaries and puts the final touches on the edit, they're a lot smarter than you would necessarily see on the surface.
Angela Gibson, whose story might be considered typical of the women excluded from the Hollywood Boys Club, were it not for the fact that she produced her films in North Dakota.
I was looking through there and I discovered there was this woman in the 1920s in Castleton, North Dakota named Angela Marie Gibson, who just made films kind of for fun and distributed them herself. And so I thought she was such an interesting character. I made a short documentary about her when I was in my 20s. Making that Angela Gibson documentary was probably more instructive than all of film school. Wild Bill's Run is about a guy from Minnesota who led a snowmobile expedition to the Arctic.
It takes a lot more than just plain skill.
Thought he would maybe go all the way to Moscow. I don't think he understood how geography works. And so it failed. The expedition didn't make it to Moscow.
There were a lot of things that got accomplished, but it's still a failed mission because we didn't get to do what we set out to do.
And so I think he had some debts, so he started smuggling drugs, and he actually became one of the top drug smugglers in the country and was on America's 10 Most Wanted list for a while, and then he just disappeared.
Walking through the airport in Minneapolis carrying a rifle and looking like a wild man from Borneo.
All of the guys that we interviewed in the film were members of this snowmobile expedition. And I had a hard time, the first couple times I'd interview these guys, they're so stoic.
Does it make you mad? No.
I found it frustrating until I realized that is an answer in and of itself. This sort of, the way that these guys of a certain generation from the Midwest, the way they just sort of look at the world is so interesting. And
this is the second year we've brought the puzzle contest back to Winter Carnival. It kind of just took a back seat for a little while, and then we had a lot of people calling and emailing, and I'm like, what's this jigsaw puzzle contest people are talking about?
After making a film about snowmobile criminals, I thought I would make a hard-hitting documentary about competitive jigsaw puzzling.
I'm loath to give up Wicker Kittens, but that's okay.
I know, I was a little sad to see
Wicker
it go.
Kittens is so cute. They're so cute. We did this one together, I think.
No, it was last January. Yeah.
Like with Wicker Kittens, it was hard. I felt like that was the one time when maybe he didn't listen as much because, you know, I'm in the film, so I definitely had a bias. So I think he kind of, you know, probably weighed that more so when he was making Wicker Kittens to maybe not listen to me as much. Obviously, Minnesota Nice comes to mind because I think he does really showcase Minnesotans in a way that captures the sort of uniqueness of Minnesotan kind of personalities and attitudes.
After Wicker Kittens, where one of the subjects was my girlfriend, I started to look around and I thought, you know, my mom is really into this Kensington runestone business.
If you don't believe, you doubt everything, then you're always living in controversy.
I could probably make a film about her and the obsession that a lot of people have with the runestone. I just think there's something really interesting about why people believe in the things that they believe.
My grandfather was one of the first persons to see it.
I mean, I almost accidentally made a film about religion, but the text is about whether or not you believe that Vikings were here in Minnesota. This is the Free Range Film Festival barn. We've been doing the festival here for 13 years. Together with my friends, we just decided, well, let's just build our own movie theater. And we did that and started, you know, having the festival and invited filmmakers and films here that we wouldn't normally get to see. So we kind of like to say, you know, if you live out in the country, you just sort of have to make your own fun.
She's got to go to Central America and all over. And
I like documentary films more than narrative films because I'm just inherently a skeptical person. I have a hard time suspending disbelief. And so I just get a lot more enjoyment out of watching documentary films. Like I could watch a bad documentary and learn a ton of stuff. Style where I just like to look at, you know, even serious subjects with just a a little bit of humor, or sometimes a lot of humor.
Singleton Street of Delano, Minnesota perform a mix of old-time Americana, bluegrass, Celtic, and gospel music. But the true backbone of their heartfelt performance stems from their fun-loving personalities and passion for sharing their message through music.
On one Sunday morning, just about 12 o'clock, the great ship Titanic, Lord, began to reel and rock. People on board heard to cry, saying, "My Lord, I'm bound to die." Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Awful sad when that great boat went down. Husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Well, the builders, they kept building, declared what they would do. Gonna build a boat that the waters couldn't go through. God, with his mighty power in hand, showed the world they could not stand. Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Awful sad when that great boat went down. Husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Well, the ship was leaving England, pulling from the shore. The rich lady declared that they would not ride with the poor, so they put the poor below. They're the first ones had to go. Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Awful sad when that great boat went down. Husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Awful sad when that great boat went down. Husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. Wasn't it sad when that great boat went down? Ain't no use in sitting crying. You'll be an angel by and by. Don't you rock on, don't you rock on, my daddy-o, your sweet rockin' daddy-o. When I get my day's work done, court the pretty girls one by one. Don't you rock on, my daddy-o, your sweet rockin' daddy-o. When I get my new house done, sail away, lady, sail away. I give my old one to my son. Sail away, lady, sail away. Don't you rock on, don't you rock on, my daddy-o, your sweet rockin' daddy-o.
If you know of an artist, a topic, or an organization in our region that you think might make for an interesting segment, please contact us at prairiemosaic@prairiepublic.org. I'm Bob Dambach.
And I'm Barb Gravel. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Prairie Mosaic.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.